everyone, welcome back to Dragalia Lost, and happy 3 years of this wonderful game. Indeed, as you can see, we have the big cake, which signifies that we are into anniversary mode finally, and today we will do our very first video. As usual, you guys might think, is this a should you pull? Sort of. It's not really a should you pull more than it is a tier list of all the Gala Adventurers that have been released previous to this date. I already did one in the past celebration for all the adventurers that you will get from the ticket, the sparking not really the sparking ticket, the Dream Summon ticket that you got for free from the Age of Chronos event. This one is for the latest gacha, because you can spark any Gala Adventurer and the 5 Reborn Dragons. I was planning to add also the Gala Dragons, but since only the Reborn one are sparkable, I should say that all the Reborn Dragons are must get if you want to go into the end game of the respective element, because they are the best dragons in their element. They have some competition, etc., but generally you can't go wrong by getting those dragons. So that is it for the dragon side of this tier list. They are S, if you want a sort of comparison to make. Other than that, my friends, let's set down some rules and then we will start. I will go through each adventurer like I did last time, a very brief introduction, why I placed them on the list, and also what I feel about them. As usual, remember that those tier lists are made with my very high personal opinion of each of those adventurers, so if you are going after a tier list to decide on something, always try to gather different opinions. If they are written on videos, etc., I always suggest to learn, and then you can decide for yourself. So, this tier list will try to rank all the Gala Adventurers released before the 3rd anniversary, which I believe are 16 if I'm not wrong, so that you can have an opinion for the spark of this current Gala Dragalia. This will last only until Thursday, so make sure to get there at least on Wednesday, you make your decision and then you go through with it. Then on Thursday we have the Gala Zena, the Gala Zetia, not Zena, the Gala Zetia and the Gala Bamut gacha. So, as you can see, you have the Wilm Sigils, which is basically the sparking system of the game. You have all the Gala Adventurers, you can spark any of them, and then the dragons, those 5, just as I told you. The ranks will be as follows. S is for those adventurers that are meta-defining. What do I mean by meta-defining? Well, when this adventurer released, the meta revolved all around this adventurer. To make you guys an example, when Gala Cleo released, all the High Jupiter trials meta revolved around Gala Cleo, because she was that good. When Gala Mascula released, all the Legendary Twins meta revolved around him, and still is. Of course, there are some adventurers that had a meta-defining role, such as Gala Elisanne with High Brunilda, but now, for example, they are more on the A side in terms of ranking. I'm kinda spoiling them, but just to give you guys an idea. Gala Leonidas with Yelled About, Gala Mym with any fights that didn't have Nihility, and even with more Sayadi. You get the idea. This is what I mean by S. For A, we have adventurers who are at the peak of the respective element, but didn't define the meta, they just strengthen it or perfected it. What do I mean by this? For example, let's take Gala Laxi. Gala Laxi is a very good Gala Adventurer. She's probably one that I would recommend because she's also very fun, but she didn't really define the meta around her. She was just a very good pick that, for example, if you had to choose a very strong DPS, Gala Laxi would be one of the top picks. But still, the defining character that you would have on your team would have been Gala Mym for Volk, or Gala Leonidas, or back then we had Mart, to make you guys an example, but Mart is not a Gala Adventurer. That's what I mean with the A ranking. Another example, Gala Ranzal with his Mana Spiral became very strong, but of course in his element Gala Notte is the meta-defining unit, because Gala Notte can deal everything, she has amazing damage, and most of all she can work with Nihility perfectly. So that's an example of A adventurers. Then we have B, adventurers who perform the same or better as most non-Gala adventurers. What do I mean by this? Well, basically, if you have a Gala who has seen the, let's say, the time pass on to them, they will most of all get old and weaker as time goes on and new units releases. For example, Gala Zena, which is one of my favorite adventurers in this game, she had a very troubled time with the Dominion bosses. Why? Because Dominion bosses require a very strong healer and Gala Zena cannot out-heal corrosion. And also, outside of that, her damage wasn't good enough compared to the other light DPS to bring her on that role. I do think that it was back when Lilith released, but over time light got better and more adventurer released, Gala Reborn Chan released, so Gala Zena got very quickly overshadowed. She will be brought back to life, I will say that, with the new Unbinds and with a possible mana spiral for her. She can be brought up to A at least, I hope, but for now she's a very clear B. Another example of this, let me think about it. Gala Leif, very obviously. Gala Leif was very good back when Chelle was the boss for Wind. He was part of the double buff meta, but currently double buff does not work in Dominion, and even in Chelle, Hope still works way better than him, so it is what it is. Then we have the last, which is a C, just for Sarisse. Sarisse, I will get more on that in just a second, but she's a rank apart because Sarisse really cannot see the light of day in any kind of content anymore. While she was, back when she released, a very good adventurer, currently she sits out of most content to the point that I really can't recommend rolling for Sarisse until we see a mana spiral for her, which is probably going to be very, very good. Okay. So now we will enter the ranking, starting from the bottom with the Sarisse and then going up to S. As usual, remember that those are my personal opinion. Gather multiple opinions to make your decision, because it is very important that you not waste onto an adventurer that you do not like. I will try to mix both the gameplay and how fun I had with the characters, because I also believe that fun is part, at the end of the day, of your experience with the game. So right now, let's not waste any more words and let's start with the S tier list with the C rank. And we start with the C tier. C for Sarisse, and only Gala Sarisse is in this list. I know, I made a very fun pun. I excuse myself for the idea, but I wanted to add it whenever I got it in my mind, and it was somewhat of a good reason. Some of you might say Gala Zena should go on the C list. I don't agree, because Gala Zena is still a very, very good adventurer, on par, if not better, than her similars in the same element. Gala Sarisse, however, is the very first Gala that we had in the game. Back when she released, she was very, very good, but she has a kit that revolves around buffs and energy. If you ever played Nihility in the Dominion bosses, you know that those two get dispelled, and so Sarisse cannot do anything in terms of extra damage, and in general also boosting her own damage, because overall Sarisse only has one damaging skill. All the rest of her kit works around strength. And so I will say this: until Gala Sarisse gets a mana spiral and hopefully it fixes her kit, Gala Sarisse is a very obvious C. She does not define any kind of meta in Fire, she does not work that well even outside of Dominion. In Bulk, I barely see her in both Legend and Master difficulty. In Expert and Standard, yes, sometimes she's still kinda decent, but not as good as the other Fire Adventurers in the same element. And then, I will say this: Gala Sarisse nowadays is basically a normal adventurer in her kit. She does not really have anything special like the other Galas in terms of playstyle, and so I should say that the amount of time that passed between her release and now really shows that she really needs to be updated. And so that's why she is the only one in rank C. So 100%, even without checking other people, do not spark for Sarisse. She's the one choice I really can tell you won't work until she gets a mana spiral. Now let's move on to the real Gala characters with the rank B. And let's start with the rank B. First up is Gala Leif. Gala Leif is a wind sword that has two stances of gameplay, one slow and one fast, which can be very fun to play with, but it was kinda hard to learn at first when he released. Gala Leif is sort of a support to the double buff meta that was around the boss of the Aikido for Wind, which was Chelle at the time. And in Dominion, much like Sarisse, it does not work really well because of his buff side, but unlike Sarisse, he also has a side without relying on buffs, which still works pretty well. However, this brings his kit to a standard Wind Adventurer level, which is to say that he's not as meta defining as Notte, to make an example, and so unfortunately he is B rank. However, I will say that he can be very fun if you like to switch between fast and slow attacks on a character, and if you like a supportive type of DPS characters that rely on inflicting debuffs or ailments such as poison on the enemy. Still a very fun character. Let's move on. We have Gala Luca. So this will be very controversial, I am sure, because Gala Luca is an adventurer that has been considered bad and good depending on the situation, and to me Gala Luca just is a good adventurer. He's not bad, he's not incredible, he's just good. He has a mana spiral, which you can unlock with the Realms of the Money or the new Omnicity, I believe, Omnisite material. Gala Luca is an adventurer that relies on crit to make the most out of his damage. Like Gala Leif and Gala Sarisse, he works with buffs, but thanks to the mana spiral he also has amp, so it's not as bad in Dominion as it was before. However, I will say that his damage is situational, because of course relying on crit means that you really want to crit. And while he has a very good support to his crit rate thanks to his skills, it is also very easy to see why this character does not perform as well in most of the light content. In Lilith he can be sort of and in other type of bosses he can be also kind of, let's say, not bad, but he could be way better in my personal opinion. So I will say this about Gala Luca. While it's surely possible that he will go up to A rank with the next set of bosses, currently to me he is very easily a B rank because of how I've seen him played, how I play him of course, and in general how the bosses for light content are like. That's not to say he's bad, however, he's just as good as other light DPS, sometimes a little bit better, but not as meta defining as Gala Prince for obvious reason. Last but not least, we have Gala Zena, which is one of my most used adventurers and one that I know the most, and it hurts me to put her at B because for the most time I believe that she would rank up to at least A if not S, but unfortunately currently she is a B. Why is she a B? Well, Gala Zena is a healer. Healers usually heal, but Gala Zena has a kit that is half healing and half dealing a ton of damage. This works by making sure that any kind of HP buff that is given to Zena throughout dragons with their passive HP, weapons, etc. is transformed to strength if she has full HP, otherwise the conversion gets a little bit lower. This makes her hit very hard with her standard attacks and 4 strikes, especially if you trigger her special 4 strike, which is a pretty cool gameplay character in my opinion to have. If you really want to try her out, I do think that she's worth to get, at least for that. But in the terms of healing, in the new bosses, the Dominions, there is a debuff which you need to dispel by healing, and the Gala Zena healing is not enough to dispel, say, the debuff, and so the other light healer, which is Hildegard, took her place. The damage is decent, in my opinion it still works in Dominion, but over time more character got released, more DPS focused heroes for light got released, and so Gala Zena got quickly overshadowed to the point that now she is a B rank. However, with the new dragons unbinds such as High Jupiter, such as Chan, maybe that could change, because maybe the extra HP from Chan will make her better as a healer, and the extra strength from Jupiter with the extra HP could also make her better as a side DPS. So right now I will say that Gala Zena has a high potential to rise onto higher ranks, but currently she is a B. I will say, however, that I would really recommend to play her for the gameplay, because a sort of DPS healer to me is a fun idea. And now, my friends, let's go up to the ranks of the really good stuff. Let's start with the A rank. And now, my friends, it is the time of truth, the rankings, which will probably generate a ton of discussion, because people will tell, no, this is S, no, this is A, etc. We will start with Gala Laxi. This hero recently got a mana spiral, which made her very strong, but unlike the other two Gala characters in Fire, which are above her, which are Gala Leonidas and Gala Mym, Gala Laxi doesn't really define the meta of Fire. She is, however, one of the best DPS in Fire, and in my opinion, one of the funniest to play. because she has a kit that revolves around attacking depending on the speed to which you tap the screen. If you tap fast, she will attack like a normal dagger. If you tap slow, she will attack like a sort of slow wand. It's my best example that I would use. She also has a sort of pet which hovers around her head with a resto which you can activate, which will shoot laser beams at the enemy. A very fun adventurer with 2 affliction that she can use if you trigger her mana spiral with the Trials of the Mighty or Omnisite. In my opinion, a very worthwhile investment if you want to have both a fun and very good DPS for your team. However, teams will not revolve around ring bosses. In Yaldabaoth, people will most surely want Gala Leonidas. In Volk, people will most surely want Gala Mym, Gala Leonidas or Halo Willow, and those are usually the core heroes for the fire meta. Which is not to say she's bad, she is very very good. You just have the top of the top in the same selection. Now, said this, I won't repeat it, but have it in your head. Gala Ranzal is a hero that suffered from this same logic, because Gala Ranzal released into a fight where he didn't really achieve much in terms of his kit. His kit is not bad, but for Chelle he didn't really synergize with the double buff meta, and when he got an upgrade with his mana spiral, Gala Notte was released, and so his DPS side was overshadowed by Gala Notte excellent DPS side. And so Gala Ranzal fell behind very very quickly, and while he is one of the best win DPS, he kinda is behind the Notte, which is to say, is above average A. Then we have Gala Elisanne. So Gala Elisanne was a hero that actually before her mana spiral would have been, in my opinion, a C, because inside of Dominion she didn't work at all. Right now she does, because they made half of her buff unique with the mana spiral, and so she is a very strong buffer with a unique utility in auto. Outside of the Dominion bosses, she saw plenty of play with High Brunhilda, somewhat of a tepid play with the twins, because in my opinion she didn't work really well into that fight, and so that's why, in my opinion, with her unique utility in the Dominion fights due to her personal buff which became unique, she is a very very strong support type character for your water teams. However, as I told you with Ranzal and Laxi, she's another one that needs a mana spiral. And so does the successive hero, which is Gala Alex. Gala Alex is actually a hero that I wanted to put on S, but thinking about it, the shadow meta, in my opinion, was ever only, let's say, conditioned by 3 heroes. One is Gala Cleo, obviously. One is Bellina, and one is Grace. All the other DPSs are all very good and offer different opportunities for the element, but in my opinion they never really defined the meta around it. Gala Alex was the support to Gala Cleo in both Cayenne and Jupiter. She worked really well to support Cleo general DPS, and with her mana spiral she's even better, but she's not meta defining in my opinion. She's still amazing, a hero that's very fun to play because you have to revolve around using 2 different attacks to trigger debuffs on the enemy, and one in my opinion that works very well for starting players because she's not that hard to use. She will serve her purpose in all the shadow bosses that you want to face, but if you want a surefire hero, that will be Gala Cleo. In my opinion, Gala Cleo is also sort of a open discussion to be made, because in Dominion, of course, I do acknowledge that there are some stuff to be said, but I still think that Gala Cleo is one of the most worthwhile heroes in general due to how she works. Last but not least, we have Gala Chelle, and now people will get mad because they will say Gala Chelle tears through the overdrive of legend bosses and also of the bosses for Shadow in general, because she can destroy the orbs of Asura very easily. I agree. But you have to remember that Gala Chelle is a very specific hero. She has a very specific use and she needs a very specific build to work. She's not, let's say, as free as Gala Alex or Gala Cleo can be. She is very very good, one of the best DPS, much like Gala Alex on her element, but one in my opinion that didn't really define the meta apart from Legendary Cayenne, because for example Asura you could have used many other different heroes to break the orbs, such as Summer Mym, such as I used for example Joker, the Gala Mascula skill share. There are plenty of opportunities to do it. However, I will say that Gala Chelle is probably the most likely to be a midway between S and A to me, I just put her in A to not undervalue the, let's say, value of the other heroes in S. She's still very fun. She's basically a girl with a Gatling gun that also laughs while she uses the Gatling gun. So in my opinion, the power fantasy is there for sure. And now, my friends, we have the highest tier of this tier list, which is the meta-defining heroes, and I will explain to you why each of those heroes is meta-defining. Let's get into it, shall we? And now, my friends, finally we arrive at the top of the peak of this tier list, the meta-defining heroes, or S in the terms of the ranking. And those heroes all have a very specific reason on why they are at the top of this list, which might involve endgame content or something else for some of those heroes. I will say that having one of those heroes sets you at a very good level for any element that you are in. I would like if you guys got one of the S heroes and one of the A heroes if there is only one. For example, Mascula and Elisanne are the only water Gala heroes. If you get both of them, you are set out for life in water, because I would say that Tiki will be the third, not Gala, but getting their hero for water, and then you have a complete team plus a healer to do anything that you want. But in general, you should aim to get at least one of those characters for any of your elements, because they are really meta-defining, as the word says. So we start with Gala Leonidas. Gala Leonidas is a rapid-fire mana caster, similar to Chelle in many ways. He also shreds through the overdrive bar, and he was the key component for the legendary Volk fight for both me and many other players to clear it on the solo. You guys cannot understand how easier it was within on the team to get through Berserk and a lot of other stuff that the legendary fight of Volk has. Also, when Yaldabaoth came out, Gala Leonidas became the top tier pick, to the point that every time I do a bug with the Yaldabaoth fight, I always encounter Gala Leonidas all the way through. He is that good. He is a hero that really defines the gameplay of Fire in the latest content that released for its bosses, and so I cannot but recommend this particular Gala to you guys. He's also fun to play. Basically has a playstyle where he shoots the rapid fire Maracaster and then he can get a dragon form at half the cost and do some really crazy attacks with a sort of stacking mechanic where he gains a buff that stacks down or up depending on how many times you use your S2 during its duration. Very good hero, very fun, and in my opinion it will set you for life on fire in the current content that is out. However, Gala Mym is also on this list. Gala Mym is my favorite hero of the game. With no words asked, she was the favorite hero for the first year of Dragalia when I played, and she's a hero that really made the life of many players a lot easier in many difficult content. Content that is not limited to fire content. For example, in the Morsaiati trial, which is another difficult quest that you can do, Mym is the top tier choice for player control unit that you want to use. Why? Because she's a unit that revolves around her dragon form, and the more you transform into her dragon form thanks to the fact that she generates a lot of dragon prep, the more Mym becomes stronger. So longer fights make Mym incredibly strong. And outside of that, in Volk she was also strong for the same exact reason. Her dragon damage went through the roof with her dragon claws, her passive, etc., to the point that she became the easiest way to clear Volk back when the first Gala Dragons released. With Gala Agni she saw another spike in strength, because of course you can switch her between Gala Agni and Gala Mars. I forgot the Mars name for a second there. Gala Mars is better for her, but both of those offer a different playstyle for Gala Mym. Of course, much like Gala Yuden later on into this list, you will need a good dragon to make Mym work at her best. And inside Naivety, Mym does not work at all, in my opinion. However, this is offset by the fact that outside of Naivety she is one of the best heroes in general, and to the point that while she released in the first year of Dragalia Lost, Mym still is one of the best fire DPS in the game. She is that good, so in my opinion getting Gala Mym even at this point in time is really a good choice. If she gets a mana spiral, oh man, I can't wait for that for sure. I also got my very first legendary weapon for Mym, the Fiery Lance, if you guys saw it in one of my videos. I did it just because I love the character this much. And now we have another character that I really need to do a showcase for, which is Gala Mascula. Gala Mascula is a very interesting case because he is a hero that specializes around doing multi-hit attacks. he will start as a simple blade, and then he will get basically a lightsaber that will hit half the arena, together with beams that shoot down off the sky whenever you hit an enemy with, say, the lightsaber. He is very, very fun to play. He is a key component in clearing invasion events very fast, and with the legendary twins, and in general also any water content that released recently, is a very good choice in my opinion, because it deals a ton of damage, is very easy to play, and is also very fun. I will say that Gala Mascula is one of those heroes that we'll probably see play in the upcoming boss, which will come at the end of October, but I'm not really sure whether to say he will or not right now, because I have no idea about what the boss does. I will say, however, that he is very fun and a meta-defining pick in water to get for sure. And then we have our cute mascot of the game, which is Gala Notte. Gala Notte is a hero that really renovated Wind as a whole. She is a Dragon Drive unit that can turn into a bigger Notte, which deals a ton of damage, and if you are a good Notte player, you can also stay in the Notte form as much as you like. She is very, very fun in my opinion. She's also one of the best DPS for the same reason that I just told you, because her Dragon Drive deals as much damage as a Dragon Form does, very easily as well. And also, she has one of those unique playstyles thanks to her very fast attack and also her skills, which are very fun to have, which in my opinion defined the Wind meta as a whole when it came to using Notte to deal incredible damage, and also using her Dragon Drive form to destroy the meta of Iblis in my opinion, because she basically turned sort of into Gala Leonidas for Iblis, but not as much, because Iblis does need different heroes to work as well. And then we have, of course, Gala Cleo. You guys should know Gala Cleo by now. She's one of the most popular heroes in the game in the past years, and with good reason. Gala Cleo is a hero that specializes in supporting your shadow team with a buff zone that worked very well until Nihility, since Nihility was basically created for Gala Cleo, Bellina and Grace, which are the three meta-defining heroes that I told you guys about. And while Gala Cleo got a mana spiral that makes her enter in Nihility a little bit better compared to before, she's actually, in Nihility she should be an A tier in my opinion, because she still is pretty good over what she can do. In Nihility she does not really work at all for the mentioned reason. She can fill in the gaps between the periods of non-Nihility into the fight, but still, she's not a pull that I would recommend. Outside of Nihility, however, she is one of those heroes that can make you clear fights outside even of her own element, and so I cannot stress enough to get at least one Gala Cleo, if not ever, to clear everything that is there before the Dominion fights. Last but not least, we have Gala Prince, which is a hero that represents yourself, because he has your name, and he is a hero much like Mym that is basically Dragon, but in light. Thanks to his mana spiral, he became even more amazing, and if you have a good light dragon such as Reborn Jan, is one of the top picks for any light content, because his dragon damage ramps up so fast and so strong that you cannot really miss having at least one or two Gala Prince on your team for a very fast and optimal clear in any light content. I don't really want to spend any more words on him, because I do think that he's one of the most easy to play and fun heroes if you have the right dragon, but you need to have the right dragon. Last but not least, a hero that I initially put on B, I will be honest with you guys, but I do think that Gala Audric is so unique, or rather not so unique, but he has such a good kit for light that he is S by default for now. Why? Because Gala Audric has Flash Burn and Dispel, which for whatever reason many light units, or most of the light units, do not have Dispel and do not have Flash Burn, and since you need both of those for Iblis, he is a key component into their particular fight. Outside of Iblis, he becomes a very, very strong adventurer, because in Tartarus he can dispel the buff that Tartarus has, inflicts a Flash Burn, and he has such a good hit generation that he can deal with the portals quite easily. In Zodiac never really saw that much of a meta, but he is still very good. Outside of that, he's also a very fun hero to play. Basically a light Gala Alex if you want to make a comparison. And he's also the latest released Gala, so you have also the recency bias that went for me at least. Ok, So this is it for the tier list. Let me know what you think. I will say that now we go back and say our goodbyes to the main screen. Anyways, my friends, here we are back at the home screen. I will say that I had a lot of fun doing this tier list. I kinda like doing them. They are kinda somewhat of a difficult endeavor always to put into context, because I want to ooze out my personal opinion rather than making them the same as everyone else, because I do think that having a different opinion and learning from perspectives to make your decision is always a better game plan in general. I will say another happy anniversary to Dragalia Lost. We will bring you a ton of content throughout the week, probably starting on Thursday with the new gacha and of course the new Gala story, and then we will do the showcase about the Gala Zena, which I will get 100%. Maybe before that I will do another video on Wednesday, but we will see, because there is a ton of stuff going on this week. As usual, gachas like to organize and list everything in a single week, so it is what it is. I will say a word that I am very happy if you watched this video. If you liked my choices, if you didn't like them, the comments are there to discuss. I will say that my rankings, I will be open to change Gala Chelle's, Gala Audric's, and maybe Gala Alex, but the other ones I do strongly believe that they are correct. I do think that some choices always end up being on the middle in some cases, but I do think that being indecisive is also a disservice to you guys. But anyways, this has been Hunter Lodge with another start of a great anniversary, and hopefully if you guys like the video you will leave a like and a sub, and you will support the channel in its future videos if you want. Thank you very much for watching. I hopefully will see you next time that we will have another Dragalia Lost video or any other videos that you want to support on the channel. And hopefully you will learn a little bit from this tier list to make your own decision if you are just starting or if you are planning to roll on this new gacha with all the galas featured. Remember, however, that there is a new gacha upcoming, so if you are on doubt whether you want the new Zena or if you want one of those characters that you do not have, to wait until Wednesday to see what she does and how she plays. You do have time. Do not hurry up, you also have the free pools, etc. So there is no hurry. However, do make your decision in time, because of course, time is always a resource. This has been Hunter Lodge together with my favorite Erin, and I will see you next time. Thank you so very much for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next Dragalia Lost video.